The challenge for Apple is both that they're having products assembled in China, so having tariffs on their goods, but also to the extent that they get a large amount of sales to Chinese consumers. So to the extent you have an escalated and prolonged trade war between the US and China, it could be problematic if on both sides you see protectionist behavior and Chinese consumers not wanting to buy products made by US manufacturers. As far as moving the production to the US, I think there have to be economic incentives beyond fear of a tariff. What benefit would they give Apple to having their products manufactured in the US? What tax cuts, things of that nature. And clearly this is something that would take time and wouldn't happen overnight. But yes, the risk to Apple is both the fact that many of their products are made in China and also that they derive a large portion of their sales to Chinese consumers.
Tom, I guess part of the question on this is whether you think Apple shares are priced to perfection or not. We've seen the stock skyrocket, but we've also seen some pretty impressive numbers. What do you think? Is this pricing at this point something that could withstand some of these potential risks or not?
The answer is absolutely. So if you look at the consumer technology space and you think about who's got the brand that could withstand, call it a 5–10% increase in prices from tariffs, then it's definitely Apple. By way of comparison, I also cover Fitbit, and Fitbit, like Apple, looks to be affected on the smartwatch front. And I think it's more challenging for Fitbit and for other companies that don't have the cachet that Apple has. So on price for perfection, I think the real story for Apple has been with the higher price points for their smartphones, especially the 10, they don't have to sell as many units to drive the financial benefits. So when you look forward to the news from Apple on Tuesday, you're looking potentially at 2 higher-end phones. I definitely think they can withstand some price pressure from tariffs.
Tom, you say that Apple can withstand price pressure from tariffs, but at the same time, there's an awful lot of attention both to iPhone units and to margins overall. If those start to take a hit because of tariffs, and if it's unclear when that lets out, don't you think that investors might get squeamish?
I do think that, if you look at the iPhone lineup and you look at its importance within the financial statements for Apple, it's the primary product, represents more than half their revenue, then yes, if there was the next round of tariffs and if it was aimed dead center at smartphones, including the iPhones, I do think that could be problematic for Apple shares on a near-term basis.
What do you expect this week from the company?
So basically, you're looking for 3 new smartphones and then the next generation watch. On the smartphone front, it looks like they're going to have 1, relatively speaking, lower end, 2 higher end, the XS, and it doesn't look like they're going to call it the XS Plus, but a larger screened XS. And I think the real encouragement will be on the 2 higher price point items. If their MSRP is $1,000 plus or $1,000 plus with added memory, I think that positions Apple incredibly well financially.